I make about 7,000 ringgit to 8,000 ringgit every single month in passive income with 6 different ways while I work from home. I also added 2 other projects that I used to do and still do every once in a while because I like making money.
Yeah, boy.
And I think that it'll probably be helpful for you guys as well. This video was, by the way, sponsored by MetricSpot. More on this later. I've seen some of the other passive income videos by other fellow Malaysians and they seem a bit not very doable, because one of them actually asked me to go walk a dog or something like that. But I live in a condo, there's no dogs here, right? And the second thing is that what if it's not halal for me? So it's not very applicable to everyone. And then another video actually recommended me to build courses, but it's very hard to do that if you don't have a skill at the beginning. And most of the time when you're starting out with your passive income journey, you don't really have enough skills for these things, right? And no, I'm not going to pull you into an MLM scheme like MLM ini ke or MLM itu ke, or make you feel some pointless ways, sign up for some email stuff, or potentially even rob a bank.
Wey, you jangan tipu lah, bro.
So in this video, I would like to share a few of my passive income ideas with you guys. But ultimately though, you guys have to remember that I've been building these income streams for a very long time now. Do remember that things take time to build, and these things are like sikit-sikit menjadi bukit, right? It's hard to expect the results that I've been getting immediately just like that. Now, passive income isn't just goyang kaki and then money magically flows in.
Oh my God!
Passive income actually takes time, patience, and also a lot of effort at the beginning especially. If it sounds too good to be true, you're probably not looking at passive income, you're probably looking at a scam, so you want to be careful with that. To me, it's pretty much anything that can provide you with extra income after you've built it successfully. Some are more passive and some are less passive compared to others. For example, if I were to take 3 months in order to build an app, and then in order to maintain that app, I would have to spend somewhere around 2 to 3 hours every single day. But at the end of every single month, I get a paycheck from that app. And that's how I would define passive income. So the way that I would structure every single passive income idea moving forward would be: number 1, how hard is it to get started? Number 2, how hard is it to make 100 ringgit a month? And number 3, how hard is it to maintain once you start? Alright, so the first passive income stream that I can think about is my play to earn crypto games. And I know it's gonna sound a bit crazy, but I actually make somewhere around 1,500 ringgit to 2,000 ringgit from simply playing games for about 2 to 3 hours every single day. How it works is that you're essentially a part of this digital economy when you play this game. And the more you play, the more you contribute to this digital economy. There are many other crypto games out there, but I find that the game that I like the most, and also the game that is the most rewarding or pays me the most, is actually Axie Infinity. Axie Infinity is sort of this crypto Pokemon game. What you do is that you use your crypto Pokemon to fight other crypto Pokemon, and the more battles that you win, the more SLP that you make. And SLPs can be converted for money in real life, and then you can actually use that money for anything else. So yeah, probably sounds a bit crazy, but let me explain. Now let's start off with how hard is it to get started with this passive income idea first. Skill-wise is actually not that hard. It's one of those games that are really easy to start, but it becomes a bit harder for you to actually master the game. And then I think another thing that you probably have to learn is some crypto knowledge in order to know how to set up a crypto wallet, how to sell your SLP on a crypto exchange to make your money back. But that's pretty much it. I think the hard part comes when you have to buy an Axie team in order to play the game. An Axie team costs somewhere around 3,000 ringgit to 4,000 ringgit, so it's not cheap at all, especially during the pandemic. But luckily for you, and luckily for us, if you can't afford an Axie team, you can actually get an Axie Scholarship. And what an Axie Scholarship does is that they'll lend you their Axie teams. You can actually play with your Axie teams and earn those SLPs. And then those Axie Scholarships will take about 40% of your earnings, but you won't have to use a single cent to make money at all. Talking about Axie Infinity Scholarships, I actually personally run an Axie Infinity Scholarship as well, and I'm just very proud of the fact that we're able to help 100 to 120 people make an extra income during this pandemic. If you're interested in joining my Axie Scholarship, all you have to do is to follow my Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow my Twitter, and then apply for the Axie Scholarship in the link below in my Discord channel. Now, let's talk about how hard is it to actually get 100 ringgit per month. It's actually really easy to make about 100 ringgit per month once you get a hang of things. On average, a normal player makes somewhere around 100 to 180 SLPs per day. SLP prices are usually somewhere around 7 cents to 10 cents lately. It can actually go way higher, but I want to be as pessimistic as I can. So on average, imagine if you actually make somewhere around 140 SLPs, multiply that by 8 cents US dollar, for example, and then you multiply that by 30 days simply because you'll be playing it for 30 days for a month. You'll be looking at somewhere around 1,400 ringgit to 1,500 ringgit per month. The best part is that gameplay only takes somewhere around 2 hours a day. Okay, so the last question becomes, how hard is it to maintain though once you start? So for this, I give it about 2 out of 5. It's actually not hard at all, simply because for the first week, you will have to play a little bit longer. So daily, you'll have to play somewhere around 3 hours a day. But after that, you can just cruise by simply playing about 2 hours a day. If you're fast, you can actually finish it somewhere around 1 hour to 1 hour and a half. Not too bad for a passive income stream. The second passive income idea that I am currently using is somewhat related to the first idea, and that would actually be the Axie Scholarship management. I make somewhere around 2,000 ringgit per month from this. Once I started making more money from my Axie Infinity team, I channel all that money into buying more Axie teams, and then I started sending those teams out as scholarships. So for every single team, I earn a flat rate, and this is probably the lowest rate in Malaysia right now, of 65 SLP per team per day. So let's start with how hard is it to get started. I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5. This is a bit tougher because you actually need to spend money in order to buy those Axie teams before you can actually send them out as Axie Infinity scholarships. So how hard is it to make 100 ringgit per month from giving out Axie scholarships? I think I'll give this 1 out of 5 because it's actually not that hard. Say that you take 65 SLPs every single day, you multiply that by the average price of SLP, which is somewhere around 8 cents. And then after that, you multiply that by 30 days. So you'll be making somewhere around 650 ringgit per Axie team or per scholar every single month. How hard is it to maintain once you start? I think I'll give this about 4 out of 5 simply because it's really tough to maintain once you start. It isn't easy simply because not only do you have to track your scholars' performance, you have to train them, make sure that their accounts are okay, you have to pay out their payments, and then imagine that multiplied by 10 if you actually have 10 scholars. It can actually be a bit of like a full-time job. It's not easy at all, but however, I will help you guys out by simply giving you guys the template that I use to track my scholars' performance in the description below. I'm just giving it out for free simply because I think that it will be very helpful for future managers of Axie scholarships. Another thing that you'll need is a Trezor wallet in order to secure your Ronin wallet. You probably won't understand what I mean by now, but once you get into it, you'll understand what I mean. You'll need a Trezor crypto wallet. So I got mine from cryptobeliefs.com. It's an authorized reseller, and if you would like to get a 10% discount on the crypto wallet for security measures, what you have to do is to just simply go click on the link below to buy the crypto wallet, and you can actually get a 10% discount by simply typing in Chunming15 when you buy the Trezor wallet. YouTube is a hobby, and I love making personal finance and also crypto videos for you guys. And what's interesting is that it's not just a hobby, but it can also be a very good passive income source as well. On average, I make somewhere around 200 US dollars from YouTube AdSense, which I know is only somewhere around 800 ringgit, but it's a pretty nice side income for doing something that you enjoy. And you also have to keep in mind that my channel is quite small, and I only started working on it around like 6 months ago. So you can sort of imagine that for a channel that's as small as mine, I'm making somewhere around 800 ringgit to 1000 ringgit. You can kind of imagine something as big as, you know, say if you gain like a lot more views than I do. You know, some channels make like hundreds of thousands of views per video, and obviously those make a lot more. So how hard is it to get started on YouTube? I will give this somewhere around 2 out of 5 simply because it's easy to get started, but it's also not as easy as it seems, because it's easy to just take your mobile phone and then start filming yourself. You don't need it to be fancy. You can just start with whatever it is that you have. I started with a very crappy setup as well in the beginning. I still use a very crappy setup, if you have not noticed.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
But you do have to remember that it is one thing to just record yourself talking about your favorite anime girlfriend. Mine is obviously. But it's only another thing when you have to find a good topic that you enjoy, that your audience would also enjoy. And then the worst part is that you actually have to find a way to make it interesting as well. I mean, if you like gardening, for example, you have to find out the most interesting part of gardening that a lot of people would like to watch. And then after that, you also have to do your homework about what people really want to watch. And then after that, you have to find a way to combine that with the latest trends that's happening right now. And that's how you get an amazing video. So yeah, it's easy to get started, but also not as easy as you would think. Now, how hard is it to make 100 ringgit a month? And I'll give this about 3 out of 5. Before you can make any money on YouTube, you'll first have to hit the advertising requirements, which is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. It might take you a lot faster compared to me, or it might take you a lot slower compared to me, depending on how much effort you're putting into your videos. But for me, it took me about 3 months in order to hit this. But I think I got pretty lucky simply because maybe one of my videos blew up. But I think most of the time, most people would actually hit that number somewhere around 6 months into the YouTube game. So how hard is it to maintain once you start? I'll give this a 4 out of 5. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's actually not as easy as it seems, because not only do you have to script your videos, you then have to shoot, you have to edit, and then you have to design the thumbnail. And imagine doing that for many months to come. It can be very tiring, but it is so worth it if you enjoy making videos for people. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, YouTube is probably the best and worst thing that has happened to me in the past few months, because it's such a rewarding journey, but it is so tiring and draining. The fourth passive income idea that I have would be affiliate links. This is probably one of the simplest and also easiest passive income ideas out there. How hard is it to get started? I'll give this a 1 out of 5 simply because it's so easy to start and so easy to do. So it's really simple, right? All you have to do is to find products that you really enjoy and you think is beneficial for your friends or anyone that you know in particular. For example, for me, I am a huge crypto nerd and I invest so much of my money in crypto, not financial advice. So I use LUNO a lot and I think it's very beneficial for my friends and right now my community, which is like you guys. So what I would do is that usually I would put a link to a LUNO referral code in the description below, even for this video as well if you're interested. So how hard is it to make 100 ringgit a month? I'm going to give this about 3 out of 5. Now I'm going to explain why. How likely it is for you to make 100 ringgit a month really depends on what kind of affiliate link that you're sharing. So for example, if you're sharing financial products, you're more likely to get a higher return, or if you're sharing beauty products, you also get a really high return. But a word of advice is to simply just find a product that a lot of your friends would like. For example, if you come from a basketball community, it's a lot easier for you to actually just use like sports shoes referral or something like that. So you might want to have a look at the people around you before looking for a proper referral code. For example, if all of your friends are like crypto nerds like me, then you would suggest like crypto stuff. It also really helps if you have a social media presence as well. So how hard is it to maintain after you start? I'm going to actually give this about 4 out of 5 simply because it gets a lot harder after you use your mom's account or your dad's account or your sister's account, simply because we usually have a very limited social circle, right? I remember using all of my parents' accounts just to get an extra burger. So yeah, but you did it before too, right? But if you have a social media presence, it will definitely make things a lot easier for you. The fifth passive income idea that I have would be stocks. Now, how hard is it to get started when it comes to stocks? I'm gonna give this 1 out of 5 simply because it's actually really easy to get started. You just have to download a few stock apps and then all of a sudden you're now a trader. Theory-wise, it's actually really easy to start, but nowadays when you go on YouTube, all of a sudden you see this scammers everywhere. I mean course sellers everywhere. For legal reasons, that's a joke. It can be super confusing because there are so many gurus online and they're teaching you how to invest in this or invest in that, and then they have all these 500 ringgit to 1,000 ringgit gurus, and it just makes you really anxious because you're not sure what happens if I fail in investing. You know, my savings could be going from like 10,000 to 0 in just 1 week. And it's true, right? But I don't think investing should be that complicated. It shouldn't be that complicated. In fact, it's actually supposed to be a lot simpler than a lot of us think. Also, I'm sorry to say that if you're looking for a quick way to become rich, this is probably not the right video for you. Because there's no such thing as confirmed earnings. Despite what all the course sellers keep telling you, there is no such thing as confirmed earnings. So I mean, think about it this way though. If these course sellers have found a way to become so rich, why would they still charge you so much for their courses? And why would they pay so much for advertisement? It just doesn't make sense. Now, for beginners out there, I would instead recommend just investing in index funds. UX index funds in particular. So how this works is that instead of investing 100 ringgit in one stock, you use 100 ringgit to invest in 100 different companies. And these companies are usually the top 100 US companies in the world. So imagine if 70% of the companies do well and 30% of the companies don't do well, you are still on an uptrend. In fact, on average, US index funds tend to generate about 10% per year, and they tend to outperform 90% of actively managed funds out there. Now, there are many ways for you to actually invest in US index funds. One of them would actually be interactive brokers, but the method that I think is the simplest and also the easiest for you to get started would actually be Stashaway. I'm not even being sponsored by them. It's just one of those apps that I used back in the day as well, simply because it's very convenient, it's very, very easy to use. I would argue that, however, once you get a hang of Stashaway, you would want to start moving into something like interactive brokers simply because the charges are actually much lower. And if you're interested in Stashaway, I'll link it in the description below. I won't really get anything because I don't really use Stashaway, but I just think that it'll be very easy for you guys to go download the app. Okay, so how hard is it to make 100 ringgit per month with stocks? I'll give this about a 2 out of 5. To make 100 ringgit a month, you'll need to be able to generate about 1,200 ringgit per year. And assuming the average percentage of return for index funds is about 10%, you'll need about 12,000 ringgit invested in index funds. Assuming that you take 3 years to invest 12,000 ringgit into index funds, it's actually simple. You just need to invest somewhere around 350 ringgit per month, or somewhere around 10 ringgit per day for 3 years straight, which is really actually not a lot. In fact, it may actually be a lot lesser due to the accumulation of wealth from year 1 and year 2's investment. Now, how hard is it to maintain once you start? I'll give this a 1 out of 5. Once you get the ball rolling, it's actually very, very easy from there on out. The hard part, I think, would be to sort of build that saving habit of getting 10 ringgit a day and then just putting it away and then just investing that into something like Stashaway or whatever. And then after that, it should be pretty straightforward from there. My sixth source of passive income is cryptocurrencies. And if you're new to my channel, you would probably eventually realize that I'm a huge crypto nerd. I love the technology, I love the community, and how hard is it to get started when it comes to this passive income? I'll give it about 1 out of 5. Crypto is really, really volatile if you don't know what you're doing, especially if you're investing in totally terrible coins. But even if you are investing in some really, really good coins like Ethereum and Bitcoin, it'll still be pretty volatile if you don't know what you're doing. If you hold blue chip coins like Bitcoin or Ethereum for the long run, your risk would definitely be much, much lower and your profits could definitely go sky high, assuming that you're willing to hold it for a pretty long time. Ethereum, my favorite coin, not financial advice, for example, has actually gone up by 3x since the beginning of this year. But not only that, you can also actually make money from earning interest on your crypto as well. There are a few ways to do it. One way is to simply use staking. I actually made a video on this somewhere here. And another way is to simply use an online crypto bank, like the sponsor of today's video, which is actually MatrixPort. MatrixPort is the largest crypto bank in Asia. They offer one of the better rates out there and are definitely one of the safest platforms in the world. What's cool is that they have a huge variety of DeFi products on their platform as well. I personally use MatrixPort myself and I think that it's a pretty cool app. If you deposit a minimum of $100 into MatrixPort right now with the referral code in the description below, you'll be getting an extra $10, which is somewhere around 40 ringgit, just for you to invest in crypto. Other platforms that are also pretty well known in the space is also something like BlockFi and also Celsius as well. Now, how hard is it to make 100 ringgit a month? I'll give this somewhere around a 1 out of 5. What's crazy about crypto is that it takes a much lower amount of money in order to make 100 ringgit a month compared to investing it in stocks. But it's also definitely a lot more unstable if you don't have a strategy. The best strategy that I can recommend to just about anyone that's joining cryptocurrency is to simply just buy Bitcoin or Ethereum and then just hold it for the long term and then take profits in the future. And you should also probably avoid day trading because 99% of day traders have lost money despite what all the gurus out there tell you. If you look at the chart over here, Bitcoin's price has consistently gone up for the past 10 years despite large dips along the way. Now, not to sound like an uncle, but as per usual, time in the market is always better than trying to time the market.
Sheesh.
Now, how hard is it to maintain once you start? I'll give this about 1 out of 5. Just like stocks, you just have to buy the right cryptos, hold for dear life for the long term, and then just look at it after like 5 to 10 years or something like that. So my 7th source of passive income is actually slavery. I meant slavery on Reddit. At one point in my life, I was quite desperate for money, and one of the weirdest things that I did was to actually become a slave or temporary slave on Reddit. No, I was not being whipped by strangers at 3 a.m, but
You naughty.
I actually took on some weird jobs where I Reddit slave labor. The idea is that you're supposed to be doing very cheap jobs for people, mostly in America. But one cool thing to note is that cheap for Americans is definitely not cheap for us Malaysians over here. $5 for them could potentially buy them like one burger. But $5 over here is somewhere around like 20 ringgit, and that can probably buy me like 4 Ramly burgers. Craziest thing is that we can actually just make like a lot of money from simply doing very simple jobs. For example, so you can actually find everything over here. For example, you can make a catchy tagline for a company for $5, which is somewhere around 20 ringgit. You can also find 30 Instagram influencers for this business and then get paid around $5, which is also about 20 ringgit. You can also create a unique personalized 30-day gym workout program for someone and then get paid about $15, which is pretty interesting as well. Yeah, you also have to realize that, some requests are weirder compared to others. There are some very weird requests over here that I don't want to talk about. So, kena pandai-pandai lah, yeah? Now, how hard is it to get started? I'll give this about a 2 out of 5. It's actually really simple. All you have to do is just go to Reddit slave labor, and then you look at all of the different job listings and find something that you think you're good at. Also, if you're good at something, you can always just list your services online, and then hopefully somebody would just like bite. And the cool part about this is that there's lower expectation for super high quality work, and you also actually get paid more simply because you live in Malaysia, so it's like win-win. Now, how hard is it to make 100 ringgit a month? I'll give this about a 2 out of 5. It's actually not as hard as you would think, simply because if you think about it, you just have to make about $25. The beauty of international clients means that you can actually just give 25 ringgit worth of effort in order to make 100 ringgit. So yeah, that's the beauty of international clients. Now, how hard is it to maintain once you start? I'll give this about a 3 out of 5. It becomes a lot easier as you go, simply because you will continuously build your work portfolio, and you'll definitely be more likely to be hired for a job. As you grow your portfolio, you could start looking at other side income sites like Fiverr or also Upwork as well. Those would, however, require a much higher level of quality. So, just something to think about. My last source of passive income would actually be Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is a real gem. It's where you can actually get the best deals. I love looking for underpriced stuff in the market and then flipping it at carousel.com or also muda.my. Now, how hard is it to get started for this passive income idea? I'll give this somewhere around like 2 out of 5. My advice is to first get a hang of selling on Facebook Marketplace first. So what I would do would be to actually look at stuff that you don't want anymore and then just sell online on Facebook Marketplace. Get that extra load of cash, and then what you want to do with that cash is that you would then look into Facebook Marketplace, look for things that you're about to buy anyways, or find stuff that you understand the best. For example, I've been checking out quite a few cameras here because you guys have been complaining about my quality, and I couldn't help but notice quite a few good deals. The cool part is that you could just start listing products on Carousel or muda.my without even buying anything on Facebook Marketplace, was just to get a feel for the market. Now, how hard is it to make 100 ringgit a month? I'll give this about 3 out of 5. I think this really depends on what kind of products that you're flipping. I think electronic products tend to do better for me. I also think that it actually gets easier with time. The more flips that you make, I think your rating actually gets better on Carousel or also muda.my. And people will actually take your offers more seriously when you actually have a better rating. Starting out is a bit hard though if you don't have any products that you actually enjoy buying every once in a while. Okay, but how hard is it to maintain once you start? I'll give this about a 3 out of 5. It's not easy to maintain screen because you would have to consistently look at the Facebook marketplace like a hawk. But looking for flip ideas is a personal hobby of mine. That's why I'm not putting it into passive income idea. It's just like a side income idea. Also, just a reminder, if you've ever seen me selling you something on Facebook marketplace, that's just not me, okay? It's probably some other guy. And those were the 6 passive income ideas and also the 2 side income ideas that I personally use to make about 7,000 ringgit per month. Once again, special thanks to MetricSpot for sponsoring this video. Do check out the link in the description below for the offer right now. As soon as you invest a minimum of $100 into MetricSpot, you will be able to get an extra $10 from MetricSpot to invest in more cryptocurrencies. With MetricSpot, you can get a guaranteed fixed income of up to 30% per year and have multiple access to different products such as earning, investing, trading, loans, buying crypto via bank wire or credit card, and of course ETH 2.0 and Ethereum staking mechanism, my favorite crypto. Not financial advice. I was inspired to make this video simply because I think that if I could go back in time, these are the things that would tell my younger self. So I hope that this video was helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and to also click on the notification button for more content like this. See ya.